In this lecture, I want to talk about the rules for quoting dialogue and quoting dialogue's punctuation. Now, the punctuation for dialogue is just a little bit different than standard narrative, but I think after you go through and get an overview of the rules, which there are just 8 or so that aren't that complicated, and then we go through the following workshop where I give you examples, I think you'll have dialogue down pat. So let's begin with quoting dialogue. Now, dialogue and its punctuation is all enclosed in double quotes. Let's look at an example of that. Here's an example. Hi, comma, Frankie, comma, quote. Now notice how the double quotes are going around all the dialogue, including the punctuation that is with the dialogue. Sarah said, the comma after Frankie is not after the double quote of the ending dialogue. It's inside the dialogue. And hello, Sarah. Hello, comma, Sarah, comma. All the punctuation and the words are within double quotes, Frankie replied. What are you doing today, question mark? And once again, this is a sentence without attribution. It's just a question, and it is entirely enclosed in double quotes. The same with the response, same old, period. Double quote. So enclose dialogue and all of its punctuation in double quotes. Now, we want to look at addressing someone, which is something that happened in the dialogue examples we just looked at. So we're going to look at those examples again. When addressing someone, include a comma and the person's name within the quoted dialogue. Let's take a look at those first examples again. Hi, Frankie, Sarah said. Now notice that it's hi, comma, Frankie. That's because we're addressing Frankie in that statement. So if you want to address someone, make some statement, hi, what are you doing? Whatever you want to say in the dialogue, and then say comma and the person's name. And that's the way you identify who's being spoken to in the dialogue. So, hi, comma, Frankie, comma, Sarah said. Hello, comma, Sarah, period. So this is Frankie responding. And he's talking to Sarah, so he says, comma, Sarah. Now, he doesn't need to talk to Sarah. He can just say hello, period. What's up? Frankie replied. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is attribution, and this is attributing the dialogue to a speaker. So let's take a look at that. End quoted dialogue with a comma and attribute the dialogue to a speaker outside the quoted text. So we've been doing this once again, so we're going to look at these examples that we've just been going through. Here's an attributing dialogue example. Hi, comma, Frankie, comma, because we're talking to Frankie. But notice how we end the sentence with a comma before the end double quote, Sarah said. So, hi, Frankie, comma, Sarah said. This is the way that I attribute the speech to Sarah. And the response is, hello, comma, Sarah. What's up, question mark, Frankie replied. Now, this is another issue is notice that you only replace periods when attributing dialogue with a comma. You don't replace question marks or exclamation marks in a sentence. So that is the attribution exception, actually. Replace the period with a comma, but not a question mark or an exclamation mark. So here we go back to our example again. Hi, Frankie, comma, Sarah said. Because that would end in a period, we're replacing the period after Frankie with a comma. So, hi, comma, Frankie, comma, end double quote, Sarah said. Hello, comma, Sarah, period. What's up, question mark. Now, notice this ends with a question mark, and we're attributing the dialogue to Frankie. But because it ends with a question mark, we don't replace that question mark with a comma. We just leave it there, and Frankie replied. Next up, paragraph breaks. Begin dialogue by a new speaker in a new paragraph. So you break paragraphs as speakers change. And we've been seeing that in our examples. Hi, Frankie, quoted, Sarah said. So that was Sarah speaking. Now we break to a new paragraph. "Hello, Sarah," Frankie replied. "What's up?" That's on its own paragraph because there's two different speakers. So put the dialogue by Sarah in one line and the dialogue by Frankie on the next paragraph. Now, paragraph breaks and narrative. Split dialogue and narrative into separate paragraphs. So not only if you change speakers do you break a paragraph, but if you switch from dialogue to just simple narrative, you also break to a new paragraph. So, for example, "Hi, Frankie," Sarah said, and then here's some narrative. "It was a beautiful day and Sarah was happy. So was Frankie." This gets broken off into its own paragraph. So you're constantly breaking paragraphs. If you change speakers, you break to a new paragraph. If you put in narrative, and then you break to another paragraph there as well. Now let's look at an exception to breaking the paragraphs. Include short narrative asides in the same paragraph as the dialogue, especially if it's going to be the same person speaking again. Let me show you an example of that. "Hi, Frankie," Sarah said. "It was a beautiful day and Sarah was in a good mood. What's up?" Now, there's no reason to break this into 3 paragraphs. The first of, "Hi, Frankie," Sarah said. And then because we have narrative, break it into "It was a beautiful day and Sarah was in a good mood." And then finally, because we have more dialogue, break it into yet a third paragraph saying, "What's up?" Just when you have short asides like this, you can put them in the same paragraph. And it's a little bit of economy of space here. So what are we looking at? We're looking at quoting dialogue, attributing dialogue by ending the dialogue with a comma, only if the dialogue would not end with a question mark or an exclamation mark, and then stating who is speaking outside of the dialogue. We have breaking dialogue onto, as you change speakers onto separate paragraphs, the same with breaking between narrative and dialogue. So with that said, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the dialogue section writing workshop. And in there, everything should become clear and writing dialogue should begin to just flow for you. I'll see you in that lecture.